Every single one of my very specific hair care routines has helped to transform my hair into the healthiest state it's ever been in. Like, I can't even fit all of my length into the frame anymore. That's just how long and healthy it's gotten. And so far, we've already walked through my hair oiling, shampoo, conditioner, and hair mask routines, which means that we're now ready to walk through arguably the most important routine of all, bond repair. So today I'm going to walk you through my exact step-by-step bond repair routine, including the products that I use, how I use them, when I use them, and answers to all of the questions that you guys asked me about bond repair. Let's do this! To try to keep things as crystal clear as possible right from the get-go, I thought it would be most helpful to start off with the products that I use and the frequency at which I use them. There are two bond repair products that I use every single wash day no matter what, and those products are Epres and Living Proof. And I'll walk through exactly when I use these products in a second, but Epres is something that I use before I even get my hair wet, and Living Proof is the first product that I use once I step out of the shower and have towel dried hair. So both of these are every wash kind of products for me personally. The next category of bond repair is what I'm going to say I use most washes. While there are definitely some wash days where I don't end up reaching for one of these products, maybe let's say I'm testing something else out so I have to skip, more often than not I am reaching for one of these bond repair treatments in a wash day routine in the same way that I would a hair mask or a conditioner. And if that's something that sounds confusing to you, I'm going to list my conditioner / hair mask routine in the description box below. I explain everything you need to know there. So for me personally, those products include things like the Redken Acidic Bonding Concentrate, the L'Oreal Everpure Bond Repair Concentrate, the Garnier Hair Filler Inner Fiber Repair Treatment, the Not Your Mother's Tough Love Intense Bonding Treatment, and most recently, something that's actually already almost empty, the Dove 10-in-1 Bond Strength Serum Mask. I know that I gave you guys a lot of different options here. I do genuinely use every single one of these. I'll kind of just like alternate and cycle through them, but I am currently working on a drugstore bond repair video, so if you are feeling overwhelmed by the number of choices, you're not sure what's going to work best for you, stay tuned for that video. And the last bond repair treatment that I use is something I typically use every 3-ish weeks with one exception, and that is the K18 Leave-In Molecular Repair Hair Mask. The exception to using this once every 3 weeks is if I get my hair colored. After that, they recommend using it for 6 consecutive washes again to protect your hair from that color damage. So after I get my hair colored, I will use this for 6 washes in a row, and then I will go back to using it about once every 3 weeks. But we are going to break this down even further because I know that even just that information can still feel confusing and overwhelming, so I'm going to give you 2 different wash day scenarios with the order that I would use all of these products. And those 2 scenarios are a non-K18 wash day and a K18 wash day. Let's start off with the routine that I'm doing more often, which is the non-K18 wash day. Step 1 is Epres. Step 2 is a pre-shampoo oil treatment. And I'll list my hair oiling routine video below if you want to know more about how I use these and any questions people have asked about these products. After I let that pre-shampoo oil treatment sit, I am ready to shampoo. So I shampoo first, and then I am ready to apply a hair mask, which more often than not does end up being one of these bond repair treatments. After that, I finish up with conditioner. Then I do the whole rinse and towel dry process, which I'll talk about in a future post-wash routine video. But then the first product that I apply to my hair while it is still damp after towel drying it is Living Proof. Then I am ready to move on to the rest of my post-wash routine. If it's a K18 day, that order will look pretty similar with just a couple small changes. So step 1 is still Epres, but there is no pre-shampoo oil treatment on K18 days, so this is removed from the equation. Then I shampoo, and then I apply K18. After that, I will reach for either just a mask, just a conditioner, or both. And that is something that's kind of a game time decision each wash, depending on the products I'm using and how my hair is feeling. And if that is not enough of an explanation for you, again, I talk through all of those details in that conditioner hair mask video. And again, the mask I'm reaching for on those K18 days does tend to be one of these bond repair treatments. And there's no change with Living Proof on K18 days. I follow the same process. It's the first product I apply after I towel dry my hair. So the final order for my bond repair routine is Epres first, K18 second, if I am using K18, these kinds of bond repair treatments next, and Living Proof last. And we're gonna dive into all of the questions that I know you're already thinking in a second, but the last thing I want to make sure I'm covering in detail is how I actually use every single one of these products. Because Epres is the very first product that I use in my wash day routine, when I'm spraying it on my hair is dry. But by the time I'm finished using Epres, my hair is completely saturated with product. That is definitely really important when using this to make sure that you're getting the most most benefit. So I like to spray my hair in some large sections to really make sure that I am covering every single strand. Then I let that sit in my hair for at least 10 minutes before applying anything else like the pre-shampoo oil or moving on to shampoo. When I am using K18, it is the first product that I apply after shampooing my hair. So more often than not, I'm using some sort of clarifying shampoo when I use K18. After shampooing, I squeeze the excess water out of my hair with a towel. I split my hair into 2 major sections, and I apply 2 pumps of K18 to each major section, totaling 4 pumps of K18 for my entire head of hair. So I will put 2 pumps of K18 into one of my hands, and then I'll rub my hands back and forth quickly until you can see that white product fully dispersed all over my palms and fingers. That's something that's really important to me, to make sure that I'm covering as much hair as possible. Because if I don't do that, then the product will just kind of like cling on to sections of my hair without being spread throughout as evenly as possible. So once those 2 pumps are fully spread out onto my hands and my hands look completely white, I will scrunch that into my hair on one side, so like one section at a time, and I will scrunch from the bottom up. Again, that's just something that through trial and error I think works the best for me in covering as much hair as possible. And then I'll do that exact same thing all over again for the other side or section of my hair. So 2 pumps, rub it back and forth, and scrunch it in from the ends up. Then I let that sit in my hair for 4 minutes without any other product touching my hair and without any more water getting on my hair. I know I've said this before, but it's something I continue to get questions on to this day. So if you are wondering why I'm applying K18 like that and why I'm going to go ahead and apply conditioning products after, that is because they have said that you can do that as long as you wait 4 minutes without product or water getting in your hair. That 4 minutes is what they refer to as their activation period, because you need that time to allow the product to properly penetrate your hair strands. But after that activation period is done and the 4 minutes has passed, that product is not going to come out of your hair because of something else that you put on it. So you can get water on your hair, you can apply conditioner, you can apply a hair mask, none of those things matter. They will not rinse out the product as long as you wait the 4-minute period. For conditioning bond repair treatments, I apply these just like I would a hair mask or a conditioner. So just like with K18, I will start off by sectioning my hair into 2 major sections. And what works the best for me is to create about 4 sections in my hair. From there, I will coat the sections from the top to about the middle of the strands. And then I'll grab more product and coat the middle to the bottom of my strands. And I'll typically let that sit for about 10 minutes before rinsing. Last up is living proof, and I actually apply this in the exact same way that I apply K18, but just out of the shower instead. So I split my hair into 2 major sections. I apply 2 pumps to one hand. I rub the product back and forth until it's spread out. I scrunch that into one of the major sections, and then I do the exact same thing for the other side as well. After applying living proof, the brand recommends that you wait 10 minutes before applying any other products, so that is exactly what I do. And that's it. Well, that's it for me explaining my routine, but I know that there are still so many questions that you guys have about bond repair, so let's jump into that next so I can give you as many answers as possible. Question number 1 is, how does bond repair work? And the answer to that is that it depends. It really just depends on the formulation of the bond repair treatment and the specific ingredients used. Unfortunately, a lot of the companies that have bond repair treatments are very secretive and hush-hush about the way that their specific technologies work. And that's completely fair. These brands absolutely have every right to protect their innovations to make sure that they don't get copied. I mean, look what's happened to the bond repair industry in just the past couple of years since Olaplex came out, even with all of these companies trying to protect their technology. The number of copycats has been insane. So the reason I say that is that we are not going to fully understand how every single one of these products works, probably ever, but at a high level, they should be repairing bonds that break in our hair as a result of various forms of damage. I could do a whole entire video, honestly, on this one single question because it's really detailed and really, I mean, it gets nitty-gritty quickly. So the idea would be that if you have these broken bonds in your hair from forms of damage like heat or coloring, that you apply a bond repair treatment that's able to penetrate your hair fiber, rebuild those broken bonds, and strengthen your hair as a result so that it doesn't break. Question number 2 is, if I don't have split ends, will bond repair do anything for me? And the answer is absolutely yes, if you have damaged hair. Going back to what I was just saying for question 1, the whole goal is to strengthen the bonds in your hair so that your hair does not end up splitting or breaking. So even if you don't have split ends yet, that doesn't necessarily mean that you don't have any hair damage at all. But you are the best judge of that because you are the one that knows how often you do damaging things to your hair. So how often you get it bleached or colored, how often you style it with heat tools, things like that. You're the one that knows. Next, how is bond repair different than split end products that basically glue your ends together? The big difference between bond repair treatments and traditional split end menders is that bond repair treatments are penetrating your hair internally to repair the damage at a molecular level. Split end menders, on the other hand, are not doing that at all. They're really just working at the surface level to improve the appearance of your split ends, so they have ingredients in them that help to bring your split ends together while the product's in your hair, but they're not doing anything to actually improve the health of those split ends, because the second you shampoo your hair, you're shampooing it out. Can bond repair fix ends that have already split? Definitely not. Once your hair has physically split, there is nothing on earth that can make those ends come back together permanently. Again, you can absolutely use products that help to improve the appearance of split ends, but that is completely temporary. Who actually needs to use bond repair products? I would say that you're a good candidate for bond repair products if you use heat often, if you have a lot of sun or UV exposure, or if you color or bleach your hair. Is bond repair necessary for someone who doesn't color their hair or use heat often? I don't think bond repair products are necessary if you don't color your hair and if you rarely use heat. And of course, there are other things that can cause damage, but those are the biggest culprits of damage. Unless you're somebody who is getting really high levels of UV exposure, I really just don't think it's necessary to buy bond repair products if you are somebody who does not really have damaged hair. Can you use bond repair if your hair isn't damaged? I feel like that is a different question. Like the first one is, do I need it if my hair's not damaged? The second one is, can I still use it? You definitely can, especially if, like, let's say you plan to get your hair colored in the future. Using bond repair preventatively can be a really good way to just make sure that your hair is as strong as possible leading into that. But in saying that, you may not love the way that some of these bond repair products make your hair feel, because of course they're designed for people who have damaged hair. I don't think it'll do any harm to try products like this if you don't have damaged hair. So let's say you don't necessarily feel the need to buy a bond repair treatment like this or this, but you want to try some of the other products from these lines, like the shampoos and conditioners. I don't think there's any harm in trying them. You may end up really loving the way that they make your hair feel, but you may also not. There's really no way for me to predict that. Everybody's hair is so different, so it really is just something that you would have to play around with, do some trial and error. And if you don't like the way that they make your hair feel, no harm done. Use a really nice clarifying shampoo on your next wash and go back to the products you were using. Can your hair be too far gone for bond repair? Yes. Your hair becoming damaged to the point of no return is actually a thing because a chemical change happens in your hair once you hit that point. So the main amino acid in our hair is called cysteine, and when our hair is overprocessed, one of the side effects of that is for the cysteine to oxidize into something called cysteic acid. And once that takes place, you cannot go back. That change is permanent. In saying that, that's not a change that's going to happen to every part of your hair strand and every single hair strand uniformly. So it's not really something that you could like look at your hair and just know and be like, oh, it is all cysteic acid now. That's not how it works. But there is a level of damage that your hair can hit that is irreversible. So when that happens, there's nothing a bond repair treatment can do to fix it and wherever that has happened in your hair strand. But bond repair treatments can definitely still help to restore some of the physical properties of your hair so that it looks better and feels better while it's growing out. How long can it take to see real results with bond repair treatments? Do benefits get better over time? This totally depends on the level of damage you have when you start using bond repair. If your hair is anything like mine was when I first started using K18, it's probably going to take you a good amount of time to see significant improvements in your hair. After using K18 for 6 consecutive washes, I definitely saw an improvement in my hair, but it wasn't until time went on that I started to see that it was getting better and better. So I think with some of these treatments, you definitely can feel an improvement right away, but just know that if you have severely damaged hair, it really is going to take time for you to notice a huge difference. How often should you use bond repair treatments? I recommend starting off with what the brand suggests or what the brand tells you to do with their specific product. If that goes really well for you and you want to add in more uses of it, more often than not, you absolutely can, because I've noticed that over time, these brands have kind of changed their positioning on their products, where at first it was like, oh, only use it this amount of time, and now they're like, you can use this as needed. So that's something I think you can just experiment with. That is definitely what I've done with my specific bond repair routine. K18. This has evolved over, oh my God, when did I first start using K18? Is it 3 years ago now? I think it was. So all of this has evolved for me over a 3-year period since I first started using K18, and that was really the only bond repair treatment I was using at that time. How often should you use bond repair shampoos and conditioners? Should you be using them every wash? If you have severe damage, I do recommend using these every single wash, with the exception being finding a shampoo that works really well for your scalp type. If you cannot find a bond repair shampoo that gives you a good enough cleanse for the level of oil that you have on your scalp, you can absolutely find a different shampoo and then just stick to using the bond repair conditioner or mask or treatment. Or you could use both a clarifying shampoo and the bond repair shampoo. That's something that I used to do, and I think that did help me at the time because my damage was up to the root, baby. So I would use my clarifying shampoo first to make sure that I was getting that deep cleanse, and then I would follow up with the bond repair shampoo before rinsing and moving on to conditioner. Can you use K18 every wash? I mean, technically yes. They're still saying use as needed, so there's really no reason that you can't, but it obviously is a very expensive product and that would add up really quickly, especially if you're a frequent washer. But unless you're somebody with severe damage, I don't think that there's a need to be using it every single wash anyway. Do what you want though, none of my business. Is it okay to use multiple bond repair products in the same wash and style routine? If my routine was any indicator, yes. What has worked best for me is slowly adding in more products over time. So like I was just saying, for a long period of time, the only thing I used was K18. Then I was using the L'Oreal Bond Repair shampoo and conditioner. At that time, they didn't even have this treatment yet. So I was doing that. And then as time went on, I added in products like this. So Redken would have been first because this came out before L'Oreal. Then I started using L'Oreal as well. I think they're very similar. Very. Then I think, what would it have been? A full year of using just K18 and then adding those products in is when I introduced Living Proof, or maybe it was like a year and a half at that point. Hard for me to remember an exact timeline, but it had been at least a year of me exclusively using K18 and then these before I added in Living Proof. Then it had been at least another full year, I think longer, because I started using Living Proof when I was in Chicago, which was 2 summers ago. And then I started using Epres this winter. So like again, another year and a half before I added this in. And every single time I added a new product into my routine, I was very, very mindful of what was happening to my hair. I paid close attention to it. I do that anytime I use a new hair care product, not just because I want to review it for you guys, but also because I want to make sure that it's something that agrees with my hair type. So that has worked really well for me, and I would definitely recommend following a similar approach if you want to use multiple products, because otherwise it's impossible to pinpoint what's giving you issues. But just because that worked for me does not mean that that's going to work for every single person watching this video. So again, like I always say, do what works best for you and your specific hair type. Is there such thing as too much bond repair? Can it damage your hair? With treatments like this, I personally don't believe so. I can't say that I know the answer to this for sure. In my personal experience, the answer to that has been no, because obviously I'm using a lot of bond repair, and I've seen incredible results in doing that. But again, that doesn't mean that that's going to be everyone else's experience, and also that doesn't mean that there aren't other bond repair treatments out there that could, I don't know, somehow have a negative effect if used too much. The one that immediately comes to mind, of course, is Olaplex, because we saw so many concerns, comments, criticisms from people saying that it made their hair snap off. I shared some of my initial speculations on that. At the time, I was thinking, could people that this happened to be the people that are using this in a way that's not as directed, and how Kim Kardashian is using it? Because shortly before all of that happened is when the Olaplex bun was going viral, and Kim Kardashian was saying that she sleeps in that overnight. But Olaplex is a product that stops working when your hair is dry. So if you're sleeping in it and your hair dries overnight, it stops working. And at that point, maybe some sort of negative side effect happened to people who were continuing to do that over and over and over. It's basically impossible to say though, because Olaplex obviously didn't go out and do testing to see what would happen if you were using their product in a way that they didn't recommend. So maybe the answer is there is such thing as too much bond repair if you're using it in a way that is not what the brand recommends. Like for example, sleeping in it overnight, putting it on dry hair. But if you are using those products maybe more frequently than the brand says that you need to, to. Like for example, I think Living Proof still has on their website to just use this once a week, but I've obviously seen great results in using it every wash. So I'm more inclined to say that with things like that, you should be fine. It's just when you're using these products in a way that the brand doesn't want you to use them in the first place. My guess as to why brands like this tell us to use these kinds of products as needed or once a week is because they're expensive. And if they told us we had to use these every single wash in order to see good results, people would be up in arms. Rightfully so, because they're expensive and they don't have much product in them at all. Like this has 1.5 ounces of product. This has 1.7. I know for a fact this is like $70, but that's just my theory. What is the most effective application method for bond repair? It does depend on the type of product that you're using, so that's why I kind of broke everything down before jumping into these questions. Hopefully that answered part of it. But in general, I would say that I have personally seen best results in using most bond repair treatments after shampooing my hair. So like this, and like this, and like this. I have reached out to so many brands that have these pre-shampoo bond repair treatments asking if we would see better results if we shampooed first to remove all buildup. And every single one of those brands has said yes. But I have also been told from a couple of brands that the reason why they have these marketed as pre-shampoo treatments is just because it's easier for consumers. And when brands are trying to sell a product, they want to make sure that there is as little barrier to entry for that product as possible. And if a treatment like this seems like it would be a big hassle for people to use, they're a lot less likely to buy it. That doesn't mean that you won't see benefits in using these products before shampoo, because you definitely will. It just means that if you want to get the best results possible with something like this, I would recommend shampooing first. Where'd my Epres go? Oh, right here. This is obviously a treatment I use before shampoo, and it's something that at first I thought I was gonna have to do the same thing with, like shampoo, spray, wait. But at that point, I was like, okay, I can't commit to that in addition to having to leave these in for 10 minutes. Like that is too much. I will get so soggy and pruny. But I actually had the opportunity to have a one-on-one conversation with the inventor of Epres, and after hearing him explain how this technology penetrates, I felt confident in using this before shampoo, and I'm so glad that I did, because God, I love this. Should you apply bond repair from your roots to your ends or just your ends? In theory, you want to apply bond repair treatments anywhere that you have damage, and you can absolutely have damage all the way up to your root. The issue with that is that a lot of these bond repair treatments are too thick and creamy to do that without you having hair that looks and feels greasy. Epres is really the only treatment that you can use in that way without having those side effects, because this basically sprays out like water. So I do use Epres higher up on my hair than I do the rest of these treatments. Everything else I apply from, I would say, like ears all the way down to my ends, but you can apply the treatments higher up if you want to. Do I really need to wash out bond repair treatments? Yes, that is another issue that I think was going on with Olaplex, is that people were leaving it in their hair when that is designed to be a product that is shampooed out of your hair. For everything else, I think it just totally depends on the type of product that you're using, because again, for K18, like we talked about, if you wait 4 minutes, it's not gonna rinse out either way. These kinds of products, you absolutely wanna rinse out because they weren't designed to be leave-in conditioners, so they're probably not gonna make your hair feel good if you do that. If I have problems with a lot of hair loss, would bond repair be the best option to go for? Probably not, but it depends on what the cause of your loss is. If that hair loss is truly just a loss of density because your hair is breaking off prematurely from damage, then bond repair can absolutely help, and I would absolutely recommend implementing it into your routine. But that's obviously not going to be an immediate solve. It is something that's just going to take time because your hair needs to regrow. But if your loss is from the root and you're experiencing excess shedding that isn't linked to your hair breaking off from damage, then I would absolutely recommend seeing a doctor or a dermatologist. They will help you get blood work done, see if you have deficiencies, see if you have any hormonal imbalances. They can help you pinpoint the exact cause of that loss. And bond repair is not the solution in that case. Will bond repair make my hair thicker? Yes, but probably not in the way the person asking this question is hoping it is. Because if you're somebody who just naturally has thin hair, you're not gonna all of a sudden have thick hair if you're using bond repair. However, like I was just saying, you can absolutely have a loss of density if you have a lot of breakage. That is something that I 100% was experiencing a couple of years ago. Well, how many years ago was that? Who cares? When my hair was super bleach damaged. It looked so much thinner back then than it does now because my hair was breaking off like crazy. So now that my hair is so much healthier than it was then, it is absolutely a lot thicker. But I am somebody who has very dense, thick hair naturally. Like I have a lot of hair Wow, it's heavy. I have a lot of hair, so I had room to improve in that sense. What can cancel out or ruin the effects of bond repair? To my knowledge, there's nothing that can cancel it out, but what could potentially prevent it from working is if you have too much buildup on your hair and the product's not able to properly penetrate. That is why I do not apply hair oil on K18 days, because I know that my hair needs to be clean in order for that to penetrate properly. But other than that, I don't think there's anything you really have to worry about. Can bond repair treatments give you protein overload? No. None of the bond repair treatments I've been talking about that I use will do that or have the ability to do that because they're not protein treatments. A lot of these treatments do use ingredients like peptides or amino acids, but those are not the same thing as an added protein. One of my all-time favorite cosmetic chemist creators has a really helpful post on this, or maybe 2 posts. I have definitely mentioned it before, but if you're new here and you're not sure what I'm talking about, then I'm going to list that below. She is somebody that I trust with information like that because she has a PhD in this stuff. And I don't know about you guys, but I place my trust in a smart, badass woman with a PhD way more than I do a random internet blogger who uses yucca to inform their decisions. Just saying. Why does my hair feel dry, sticky, or frizzy after bond repair? I saw a lot of variations of this same question. Some people just feel like their hair is dry after, some sticky, some frizzy, some all of the above. There are a couple different things that can cause this, but the biggest reason, the most likely reason this is happening is that you are using too much product. I really hate the way I talk sometimes, and like, it's so sad because there's nothing I can do about it. I have experienced that with both K18 and Living Proof. I think products like this, because they're so lightweight, especially compared to these thicker treatments, you feel like you want to use more than the brand suggests. But in my experience in doing that with both of these, it's just made my hair feel like crap. So with Living Proof specifically, that definitely happened to me when I used too much. My hair just felt like sticky and weird. This also made my hair feel super dry and frizzy when I put it in my hair when it was too dry. Like, I had gotten out of the shower, let my hair dry too much so that it wasn't really fully damp anymore, and then that made my hair just, again, feel gross. So again, I'm only using 4 pumps of this. I'm applying it to damp hair, and I always blow dry after using it. When I did not blow dry after using it, that also made my hair not feel great. So all of those are potential culprits of this not making your hair feel great. With K18, I have definitely experienced my hair feeling not good after using this because I used too much. My hair just ended up like so knotted. And I did not start absolutely loving this until I realized that I could in fact use conditioner with it. I personally think conditioner is a 100% necessary requirement no matter what, and I know so many people hate how their hair feels with this without conditioner. And it makes sense because this is not a conditioning product at all. And we need conditioner to coat our hair, make it softer, smoother, more manageable, easier to detangle. We absolutely need it, which is why so many people hate how their hair feels when using this before they realize they can actually use conditioner. The last reason that your hair might not be feeling great is just that you have buildup from other kinds of products. So if that's the case, make sure that you're using a really effective shampoo, like actually an effective one. There are so many shampoos these days, too many, that do not properly cleanse our hair, and as a result, we're not able to have buildup fully removed, and then we're piling these kinds of products on top. It's no surprise that our hair doesn't feel great after doing something like that. So make sure you're using a great clarifying shampoo at least once a week, and in between clarifying washes, you're still using a really effective shampoo. How should I alternate hair oiling and bond repair days? I very much plan my hair oiling days around K18. So again, if I get my hair colored and I'm going to use this for 6 consecutive washes, that means I'm not using oil for 6 consecutive washes. But if I'm back to using this every 3 weeks, then I'll use hair oil in between. If you have super damaged hair, I would prioritize using K18 more frequently than hair oil. So maybe using this once a week, once every 2 weeks, and then oiling in between those washes. I think that something like this is going to give you much better results in the long term, but I obviously still love hair oiling. So that is why I like to just kind of alternate. Which bond repair treatment is best, K18 or Olaplex? I think that both K18 and Olaplex are great options. I know I stopped recommending Olaplex a while ago, but that is only because I personally saw better results in using K18. It's not not because I think Olaplex is bad by any means. I really liked it while I was using it, but I still experienced severe breakage while using Olaplex. Like, it wasn't enough to stop that breakage for me, and it wasn't until switching over to K18 and using this consistently that I saw that breakage finally stop. The severe breakage, that is, because obviously we all, no matter what, are gonna have some breakage from wear and tear. What is the best drugstore replacement of K18 or the best drugstore bond repair products? There's nothing you can find at the drugstore that is going to replicate what you can get with K18, because K18 is a patented product. There's an ingredient in this that you will not find in anything else. However, I totally understand that K18 is really pricey and just not an option for some people, and if that is the case, you can still get great results with drugstore products. My current, favorite drugstore bond repair lines are Garnier Fructis Hair Filler, L'Oreal Everpure Bond Repair, Dove Bond Strength, and Not Your Mother's Tough Love. Not only have all of these systems just worked amazingly well for my hair, but they all have ingredients and formulas that I fully believe in. And I certainly cannot say that about every bond repair system at the drugstore, which again is why I'm working on that video. All right, that's it for this video. That is everything I wanted to talk to you guys about what? Hello? That is everything I wanted to cover in today's video as it relates to bond repair and my bond repair routine. I really hope you found this helpful. If you have any outstanding questions, drop those in the comments below and I will respond to as many as I am able to. All of the products that I use will be listed and linked in the description box below. If you did enjoy the video, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, click on that notification bell, and send my channel to a friend. Thank you so much for your support in doing those things. They do all really help to support my channel, so I appreciate you so much for that. Thank you for watching my videos. I love the freaking heck out of you guys. Make sure to stay tuned for my next one because that will be up in a few days. But until then, I hope you have a great few days.